It's been weeks, perhaps months after this breakup, and you can't help yourself but obsess over your ex. Maybe, you have weeks where you feel positive, you feel like I finally moved on, and then you're back to those thoughts, to those negative emotions around this breakup. Asking yourself about what ifs, replaying the scenarios in your head. You've potentially tried to date, but you really can't. Because deep inside that, there's something keeping you stuck, keeping you attached to this relationship, to this breakup. In this video, I wanted to share with you 3 steps. Not necessarily simple, but very clear steps that you can follow if you want to stop obsessing over your ex. It's something that I use with my clients on a daily basis, something that works. You just have to follow those steps. So take a piece of paper, take some notes, and learn today how you can stop obsessing over your ex. So why obsessing over an ex is so hard? You have to understand that a breakup, and for everyone, by the way, triggered a reward system, a little bit like the craving reward system that we get from an addiction. So when we stop smoking, drinking, whatever addiction, and we leave a relationship, we still have those craving and we feel those withdrawal symptoms. And so what also happens is that the brain will fixate, will get stuck around the thing that they've lost. I lost the relationship, so I will put I will sort of put that relationship on a pedestal. A lot of emphasis, a lot of importance to this because I've lost it. In psychology, we call it the sunk cost fallacy, or the loss aversion. Sorry, that's the loss aversion. The loss aversion is that we put more importance on things we lost or that we are about to lose than things that we win. And so a breakup is losing something. Another element is that we usually obsess. Tell me if it's the case for you in the comment section. We usually obsess because we feel it's unfinished business. We feel there are questions that needs to be answered, right? We expect for this closure, as if a conversation will help us right away to see things clearly and move forward. You have to understand that everything that I listed is not only something that you experience yourself. Everybody will experience those things. The point and the difference perhaps between you and other people who feel better after this breakup is about understanding and processing those information and figuring out a way to move forward. That's why I wanted to share those 3 steps. Again, it's things that I develop and use with my clients. If you want to learn more about these, have a look in the description. There are a few tools, free resources that you can download because I really want you to move forward. So I know videos are helpful, but I know that sometimes downloading a PDF or working on a worksheet is more helpful. So have a look. Really take the time to do the work, to reflect on your own. Whether you have a therapist or not, it's something you can also share with your therapist. Step 1 is to break the cycle of rumination. So what happens after a breakup? We have tons of questions, things that needs to be answered, things about our ex, about the relationship, and most of them we don't have the answers. And when we don't have answers about something, some people, and I think most people, have a tendency to replay those questions again and again, thinking that, oh yeah, if I think about them unconsciously, I get an answer. That's how it works, and that's actually how you create anxiety. If you want to create anxiety, the recipe for anxiety is to ruminate about things you can't control. That's how you create anxiety. So one way to break this, or 5 ways, 5 things within this step 1, first of all is to understand the trigger. There are things in your life, could be social media, could be places, could be things that you have at home that are triggering. Find them, remove them from your life. Okay? If you remove the trigger, you get less exposed, you get less inclined to have those rumination. Second element is journaling. So this is more of an active process. It's really about how you can reframe your thoughts, unload your thoughts, and when you journal, that helps release those thoughts somewhere. So mechanically, you create a distance between your thoughts and the paper. It's something that I do basically every day with my clients on WhatsApp. They share with me their thoughts. So either we do a structured journaling or we do an automatic journaling, really depends on what you want. But the idea is like, okay, instead of keeping things in your head, unload them somewhere. And usually it's very hard to do it, or you shouldn't do it with your friends because they won't have the emotional bandwidth and mental and the bandwidth to deal with that. So you can do it on your own with a journal, with me or with anyone you trust, on a messaging app. The thing is, again, actively, so identify the triggers is like proactive, so you work on their environment and then you journal. So how can you stop this ruminating process? By writing things down. If you're not sure about how to do a journal, etc., have a look in the description. Again, there are links, things that I use with my clients on how to journal. Third element is to replace your thoughts. So the journaling helps you to structure things and to be more self-aware of what's going on. And then with this information, those insights, is about how you can replace things. Replacing things from things that you can't control. So things from the past, things in the future, things about your ex, with things you can control, things that are helping you to grow. Right now, instead of having 90% of your thoughts on things you can't control, you need to shift it to, okay, what can I learn? What can I do? What can I implement to have the life that I deserve? Some of it, you might be still thinking and holding on to the relationship. You have to accept that those things, you don't control them and you have to let go of them. So there's a reframing element that we do in therapy as well, around replacing things. Fourth element, it's about distraction. So it's probably the tips that you see online. You broke up with your partner, you feel heartbroken, just go and learn play tennis and find your new hobbies. In itself, it's really good, but in itself, that's not enough. But I think it's important to, again, you design your life. So it could be about activities, but also self-care activities. The thing is, when you're on your own, the boredom creates a void. And when we are not really happy with where we are right now, this void is replaced by negativity. So actively, proactively fill that void with activities that bring you joy. Again, if you just do this, that's not going to be enough, but do this because it's really helping. And the fifth one is about mindfulness. So it's about, and there are different ways of doing it. It's about regaining control over your thoughts. So the reason you feel this way, and anxiety is an unconscious process, is from the system 1 brain. Being more mindful about your thoughts help you to block those automatic processes, those thoughts, and shift from system 1 brain to system 2 brain, which is the rational part of the brain. The system 2 brain is the one listening to this video, the one being able to reflect and understand concepts around anxiety, mindfulness, etc. Your system 1 brain doesn't understand concept. He just feels things. He just reacts to things automatically. So there's an element of finding ways to stop that process and replace it, as we discussed in bullet number 3, with positive things. But it's important to be mindful of those things as well. So all of those 5 things are extremely important. And I could actually just make one video just on those 5 things. And again, if you want to learn more about those things, it's something that I discuss, that I develop in the documents and courses that I will share on the description. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, which is extremely important, is to reclaim your identity. When we break up with someone, we lose a part of our identity because that relationship was part of who we were. And so the reason people have a hard time working towards or moving forward after a breakup is because they've lost a part of their identity and they need to restructure it, reclaiming it. So what you have to do is to reflect and focus on who you are outside of this relationship, who you were. And if you've been together for 20 years, it's a really difficult thing to do, right? Because your social circles, the things that you like doing, your day-to-day things are part of who you are, and you have to rebuild those things. And that's why it's important to rediscover new things, hobbies, passions, etc. So there's an element of distraction, but there's an element of sort of doing things on your own terms that are in line with who you are. It's important also to leverage social circles, so friends, families, also people who are positive. So it's not about the quantity, but it's about the quality. And maybe there are things in your life that you need to get rid of. People that are not really supportive, people that you feel like, okay, but I have to see them because of, no, you don't have to see them if after you see them, you feel bad about yourself, right? It's not a competition. Find people who are in your team, who can uplift you. Also, as I said at the beginning, it's like creating a life on your own terms and creating new routines that are not around your ex's life or influence. Again, it's about like reshaping, reinventing, redesigning your life around those things. Understand that your value is not tied to their opinion of you. When someone breaks up with us, it's very simple and very natural to feel less good, less better, less lovely, less whatever. You put the adjective or what you find would describe your situation. But that's not true. That's not true. And part of reclaiming your identity is to rebuild that self-esteem, that confidence. Because if you want to get back with your ex, or if you want to meet someone else, it's about rebuilding that identity. And if you're watching this video, it's probably because you want to move on. You don't want to get back with your ex and you have potentially doubt about you being able to date again. Trust me, I've helped. And when I say hundreds, I don't know if it's really hundreds, but I have more than 100 people in those phases. The thing is, you will find someone. I don't know. I don't have any former clients who hasn't had a relationship afterwards. Sometimes it takes a bit of time, but you will find someone. Okay, that's not a question. The point is to shift your mindset and figure out things about you rather than thinking like, what would my ex do? What would my ex think? Okay, because your value is really intrinsic. It's really about who you are as a person. And sometimes we need to do that work. And I think breakups are a good opportunity to reflect on who we are. That's why I do this job. That's why I'm specialized in helping people dealing with breakups. It's because in those times in our lives that we have no other option than rediscovering ourselves. It's kind of a blank sheet of paper. And we have to write our own story. And yes, when in front of a blank sheet of paper, that's overwhelming, that's scary. I don't know where to start. I'm here to help you, to give you that structure, to give you those steps. But it's exciting at the same time because you are about to write the next chapter in your life. That's step number 2. Step number 3 is about boundaries. First of all is avoid checking social media, because when you're on social media, when you see stories, it keeps you emotionally tied to the relationship, to the person. Sometimes people feel like, oh yeah, they watch my story. That's not a form of communication, right? And you create unconsciously this cognitive dissonance of, in my mind, we're still together, but in reality, we're not. And unconsciously, you have this cognitive dissonance that creates anxiety. You have to stop romanticizing the good moments. After a breakup, it's very easy and it's very simple to put our ex on a pedestal. They left me, I'm here, there must be the prize to win. It's important to reflect. That's what I do with my clients when we do the onboarding session. We do a relationship inventory. So you can take a step back and really look at the relationship for what it was. And usually when you do that work, it's not that you don't want to get back with your ex anymore, or you hate your ex, but it gives you a bit of, it's more subtle, right? It's not black or white, they broke up with me because I needed to do that. It's more of like, okay, things were not working and we had both our responsibility. It was kind of 50-50 in terms of the responsibilities of the breakup. The third thing that you could do is to block, to mute, because no contact is essential if you want to move forward. If you want to heal, if you don't want to get back with your ex, staying in touch just for the sake of staying in touch can prolong the healing process. You're not getting anything by, if you feel like, oh yeah, but I need to be nice, or I need to be them to support them. No, that's not your role. Your role is to take care of yourself first. And being in touch with your ex, if you're watching this video and you're having a hard time stopping obsessing over your ex, this is probably because you're still in touch with them. So there's an element of blocking, not forever, but at least in this stage. Another thing that you have to do and implement is goals. When you create goals, you create a sense of progress, a sense of purpose. You also create what we call self-efficacy. We discussed about like the lack of confidence, low self-esteem. When you achieve things, regardless how big they are, when you achieve things, we create self-efficacy, and that boosts confidence. And so it's important to, again, it's something that I do with my clients, like figuring out what's the plan. What are the things that we can achieve in the next week, months, and track those goals. Again, it shouldn't be like massive goals, small goals. The thing is like how you can build up on those small goals and incremental goals to feel better. And obviously distance, same way of blocking distance, physical distance or messaging distance, etc., will create that right framework, that right environment for you to grow and to get that emotional clarity, to be able to process things out. If you can't stop obsessing about your ex, it's potentially because you feel too close to them. So distance is something that you have to create and design. So final thoughts. The thing is, obsession feels strong, but trust me, it is temporary. I don't know anyone who's been obsessed with their ex for 10 years. Okay, sometimes it takes years if you don't do the work that I described, if you don't follow that steps. But it's temporary. It is temporary. You will get over it. Everybody gets over it. There will still be your ex. You'll still have happy memories about the relationship, but you won't have this emotional link. You won't be tied emotionally to this relationship. It's just in the past. And ending this chapter takes a bit of time, takes a bit of also engineering, as we discussed, because it looked like if you were doing the same things as before, you would still be obsessing on your ex. So it's about like how you can engineer and redesign things in your environment, around your mindset, to help you move forward. Because you control the narrative, right? You are responsible of your thoughts, and you can do the work, right? That's not your ex responsibility to help you move forward. The problem is like, again, with this idea of like, oh yeah, but I need closure from them. If only they could tell me. No, they won't give you any answers. When people tell me like, yeah, but I need closure from my ex, no. Because by experience, usually the conversations that you have get you even more upset because they don't know, because they won't tell you the words that you need to hear for you to heal. Closure is usually a process that starts within yourself, right? It's hard to accept because you feel like, oh yeah, but after what we had, etc. Yes, in an ideal world, I would want people to break up properly, explain properly how they feel, explain properly what they want. But that's in an ideal world, and we are not living in that world yet. Also understand with this part of progress, you might be feeling, there's so much thing. I feel so much like this. Rather than looking at the end goal, look at the progress, right? And that's also something that I remind my clients on WhatsApp. When they feel like anxious or like I ask them like, look back to the thread of messages 1 week ago, 1 month ago. Remember how you felt. And usually like, oh yeah, okay, true. I feel progress. Because one step forward is a step forward towards peace and growth. And usually when you move on for good, you don't necessarily realize that. It's usually when people tell you, oh, you're different now. I see that, there are so many things, but it's people outside who will actually tell you that you moved on. And then you'll be like, yeah, true. Right? So it's not like one day you wake up and you feel like, I've moved on. I've stopped obsessing on my ex. It's just like people will see. And, that's why it's important to have a strong social circle or therapist in your team to help you reflect on those things. If you're on other tools, things that are not necessarily very good for me to use on YouTube, have a look in the description. If you have any comments on that, if you like this video, click on like, that does help you a lot. If you found this video uplifting, let me know in the comment section. And I'll see you next time. Take care.